Hey everybody, download the Podcoin app where you can get paid to listen to your favorite podcasts like Collateral Cinema or Collateral Gaming. And you can use those Podcoins to purchase gift cards and other items from retailers such as Amazon or Target, or from places like Starbucks and whatnot. And upon registration, if you use the promo code COLLATERAL, you will receive 300 Podcoins right off the bat, and you can use them for whatever. You can also use them to donate to charity. So download the app. You can find it on Google Play. You can find it on Apple Podcasts. And also check us out on Podcoin. Like I said, promo code COLLATERAL, 300 Podcoins. So once again, that's Podcoin, the podcast app that pays you. And now for our final podcast shout out of the season. And we are shouting out a podcast that I am actually on, aside from the stuff you hear on Collateral Cinema and Collateral Gaming. And that is the Country Club podcast. And yes, country is spelled exactly as you think it is. But it's a pretty rowdy show. It's all comedy. It touches on politics a little bit here or there. But yeah, check them out. It's hosted by Michael Cornwell and Samuel Kurtzer and Matthew Ryan, and also featuring yours truly. So check them out on SoundCloud, check them out on iTunes, and follow them on Facebook. And with that, on with the show. I'm Bo Maddox.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Dakota Chancellor.
Megan Price.
This is Collateral Cinema.
Welcome to Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters, where we focus on good movies, bad movies, and everything else in between in the world of cinema. We are podcasting straight from somewhere in South Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast, so smoke it if you've got it. Folks, today is our season finale. We've had a great season here at Collateral Cinema, and we're reviewing a very special and important movie to all of us, and we'll get into that in a bit, but for this episode, we do have a guest star, Megan Price.
Hello, everybody.
What's up?
Happy to be here. Thank y'all so much.
That's awesome.
I'm really not very prepared. It's obvious.
It's
okay. I'm not that prepared either. That's kind of why I went ahead and had Ash take the lead on this. He's going to go ahead and get into the discussion in a little bit, but I'm excited to talk about this movie. It's a lot of fun, right, Ash?
Yeah,
right?
It's going to be a lot of fun. This movie is very near and dear to our hearts. And Dakota, what is that movie?
The Princess Bride.
Princess Bride.
Yeah, no, it's like what I was saying. Nobody came prepared for this, but this movie, I've seen this movie so many
Thank
times
God.
in my life. I mean, I grew up with this movie. It's my parents' favorite movie, so I can quote this movie. I mean, word for word.
That's awesome, man. Like, seriously.
No, the thing with The Princess Bride is that it is adapted from a 1973 novel. Now, the film adaptation came out in 1987, and that's what's most familiar, at least to me. You
Right.
know? I haven't read the book personally, but what I do know about it is that it was actually adapted directly into the screenplay from the original author, William Goodman. And within the context of the book, William Goodman is actually the abridger and commentator on S. Morgenstern's work.
Yeah.
And in the movie, it's S. Morgenstern's book that Peter Falk is reading to Fred Savage, right?
Yeah, no, that's right. So there's like a pseudonym going on.
Yeah, exactly. The S. Morgenstern book exists in both continuities, and what's also implied is that the reader, in this case the grandfather, is abridging the tale by cutting out all the scary parts. And that frame narrative we're going to talk about in a moment. It's also featured prominently in a recent movie. But I did want to go ahead and talk about a little bit of this movie's development. Now, of course, that is directed by Rob Reiner. And you're familiar with Rob Reiner, right, Bo?
Oh yeah, I've watched him for many, many years. I remember he was originally Meathead on All in the Family from back in the day. When I was young, they used to show a lot of reruns of old school sitcoms, and that's where I first saw him. And I also remember him releasing a lot of other interesting movies. He even released one that was kind of It's called North. It's pretty fucking racist, actually, in many, many ways. It's like, oh my God, man. It's kind of excruciating to watch.
Doesn't sound like a fun movie.
And he also did Misery.
Oh.
He's the one who directed Misery.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's also dipped into horror here and there. Yeah.
So, and that's a pretty familiar name in the industry. I know I've heard of Rob Reiner before.
Right, I've heard the name. I know I've heard him as a popular director, you know.
So the producer for The Princess Bride is actually Andrew Scheinman. And what do you know about Scheinman, Bo?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I'm not really that up to snuff on most Hollywood producers, honestly. I've always been more of a director person. I've never really paid attention to a whole lot of them. I mean, of course, especially after recent events, everybody knows Harvey Weinstein,
Right.
But, I mean, and his brother. But I mean, there's not a whole lot of other producers that I really know about, so I can't really comment on that.
What's his brother's name? Brett, right?
Oh,
It would be Brett.
Isn't
Bob Weinstein or something like that.
Maybe not who I'm thinking of. Maybe
I think
I'm
it's
thinking of different people.
Bob or something like that. I don't know, but fuck that motherfucker.
Why are we talking Weinstein?
Fuck
Yeah,
that
right.
motherfucker.
Apparently, Scheinman is known for producing Seinfeld.
Oh,
and,
really?
A Few Good Men. So
Oh,
those
wow.
are
I
titles.
remember that from high school theater, and it was miserable.
Really?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And now together, Rob Reiner and Andrew Scheinman and, of course, William Goldman produced this movie, which is The Princess Bride, which has become a cult classic in recent times. And in many ways, it has a huge cultural impact, I would say. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Oh, obviously, especially going with the internet memes that came out after very long,
Yeah. So, and upon release, I know it wasn't that successful. It got, mediocre box office. But now, this is a favorite of many fans. It's something that I know is deeply ingrained in yours and my childhood, and also Bo's and yours as well, Megan.
Yeah.
Very much so. And what's funny is that I didn't realize it had the following that it did until Facebook. Well, anyway, I didn't realize that I had as many fellow fans of the movie until social media. Yeah, I thought it was just kind of a nerdy thing, but apparently it's like an everyone thing.
Yeah,
Oh, totally.
Yeah, it has kind of blown up on social media and become a meme in
It's
its
great,
own right. Several memes. They're awesome. I mean, this movie leaves a legacy.
It's not a cult classic, right?
Yeah,
Right,
and so
definitely.
much so that
Oh, man.
it was considered significant
Whoa.
by the National Film Registry, being
I like
deemed
that.
as culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. It was made into the Criterion Collection, which we mentioned before on our Freddy Got Fingered episode.
Oh, yeah. I love the Criterion Collection, and I'm glad that Princess Bride is on there now. I mean, they're going to have some Jackie Chan movies on there, both the Police Story movies. So,
Awesome.
I find
yeah.
it funny that there's a whole group of people who decide what is significant and what is not significant.
well, they're not.
That's
movie
such a
industry.
loaded word.
You know, right?
Significance.
Yeah. Insignificance.
Right.
Right. Well,
It's not fun.
no, not at all. I mean, what really is important? What does that mean?
You know,
Yeah,
Bo,
for sure.
Can you think of a insignificant movie? I can think of one personally.
Yeah, we shall not speak its name.
But
no,
if it's on
no,
Criterion,
can we
insignificant.
please not do that? It's out there where it belongs. So
Kangaroo
throw it
Jack.
out.
is it still outside, Bo?
No, it's the
Back-
Master of Disguise.
Oh,
That's our bane.
And-
Right. I'm sorry.
and that is our criteria.
But also Kangaroo Jack.
Kangaroo
Kangaroo
Jack
Jack.
is.
I don't really remember that movie.
I don't know what that movie is either.
I watched it. I
mean,
don't remember it.
I remember a Tank Girl Ice-T was a kangaroo. So.
Not the same at all.
I'm sure.
Unfortunately.
So beyond the modest box office success, The Princess Bride, of course, did make it onto several top films,
Yeah.
such as Bravo's 100 Funniest Movies, number 50, the American Film Institute's number 88, AFI's 100 Years, Also, 46 in Channel 4's 50 Greatest Comedy Films list. And like I said before, inducted into the National Film Registry.
So it's got a lot going for it. There's a lot of awards, a lot of things that it's won, and it's a good movie. You can tell.
And why is it so culturally relevant?
That's another loaded question, bro.
I think that it's really just the quotability of the movie. Honestly, I mean that's where the memes come from, and that you can attribute that to the screenplay and the dialogue written by William Goldman. That's his name, right? William Goldman,
the author, yeah.
The author, yeah. He also wrote the screenplay, and it doesn't miss a beat in any way. There's no filler in this at all.
Yeah, like the pacing is perfect. Like slow enough that it doesn't feel rushed necessarily, but fast enough that you give a shit. You know, they don't spend too long dwelling on any particular scene. Even going so far to have what I would say plot inconsistencies that are part of the charm of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't matter if these characters knew this thing or not.
Well, it's a fairy tale.
It's a fairy tale, exactly.
It always had those kinds of weird plot holes in the story and everything because it's always supposed to have a moral to it, you know.
Right.
And the point is to get to the moral.
And that's to be expected. You know, you see a fairy tale, you know that you're going to have some inconsistencies.
Exactly. Does this movie have kind of a morality play element to it, like most other fairy tales, or does it kind of satirize it a little bit?
I mean, I feel like it all falls on the satire thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm thinking here is they don't give a shit if there's inconsistencies
Exactly.
or not. Like, they don't have to. Think about the people in the movie.
Right. See, this
Like,
movie.
that's the beauty of it.
Right. This movie, they focus on the satire.
Yeah.
But it's about true love.
Oh,
True
True love.
True
marriage. But not women.
is what brings us together today.
I mean, that would be the theme, right?
See, just that right there is so perfect.
Oh,
Hey,
it
know?
is.
You know,
I mean,
you were gonna do my wedding, which, by the way, is tomorrow night. I'm getting married.
Right.
Or
Woo!
tomorrow during the day.
Woo!
So
Yeah.
tonight's kind of the bachelor party. But Dakota,
I'm a
we
dude.
were thinking of doing like a private ceremony with Dakota doing the marriage.
Yeah, because I got ordained.
He's ordained.
You're ordained?
Yeah, I got
Dude,
ordained
that's
online.
awesome.
Yeah, I did. I went online and got ordained. It's so easy. But to do it, you have to like the website I found anyway, which is getordained.org.
My mom did the same.
Yeah, Universal Life Church. You know, gotta throw in a little support there because I'm ordained now. But there's like a $39.99 package that you buy,
It's
and
a
that gives
package.
you that gives you the certificates, like the proof, the forms that you show the people. You know,
so you could just be a minister.
Do you get
period.
a stamp
$40
like a
you can
notary?
get someone married. You can
Wow.
get somebody married for $40.
That's
Great.
amazing.
It's amazing.
Well,
Sweet.
going into marriage right now, it does cost a little bit more than that on the,
Right.
the side of the people that are about to be married. I mean, you got to pay like $80 just to get the license, and then you got to pay $100 to get a JP, and however much money you're going to spend on the ceremony if you're going to do that.
Yeah, of course.
I'm already
Oh.
looking at all these factors. So, of course, I decided I'm going to spend my money just having a good night out, the best restaurant and the best hotel, instead of a big ceremony inviting everyone.
Yeah,
and then having like a later honeymoon.
Yeah, we're going to throw a big reception later. But anyway, back to the Princess Bride. I think the main thing is, as Bo said, the many, many quotable lines in this movie. Practically every line, I would say.
Right, that you can pick out any line in this movie, and it's a quote.
Like the Star Wars prequels.
Right, it's on a T-shirt. It's on a
What?
T-shirt somewhere.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and throughout that, those lines, there's a consistent humorous tone to it all, you know? Just joke after joke after joke, but it's natural, and you laugh every time you watch this movie.
Every single time.
It's inherently a funny movie. I mean, just from the get-go, even between Fred Savage and Peter Falk.
Right.
You know, it's cute, but it's also funny at the same time, you know, because
Right.
Fred Savage, he's always interrupting, and that kind of influences the flow of the story in many ways.
Yeah, and then, in addition to, that frame narrative, which I do want to talk about, and then also, the consistent humor, action sequences, as he says, fencing, fighting, sports.
Sports.
Yeah.
That's a
the
Tim and Eric
sports?
reference for you children.
Oh, don't go there.
Oh, what? What? Damn it.
Damn it, boy.
Oh, yeah, Tim and Eric is amazing.
All right. And then, also we've got Just that the general focus, of course, on romance, which in a way is almost satirical in its depiction of romance as well, but true to earth.
More or
less.
Yeah.
I think it's satirical being held up against everything else in the movie, you know? I mean, by the time the movie's all said and done, you don't really care about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, it goes many places. I mean, it starts out with a kidnapping, and you have the
murder.
a murder and a kidnapping, and you have the three. You have like André the Giant and Inigo Montoya and Wallace Shawn's character
formed
Vicini.
along the way.
Yeah. I mean, you start from one end, you end at the other, and the middle is just a lot of fun.
Right, and
It's a tight story.
There's not a single character in this movie that's not memorable either.
Not at all.
Every single one of
Seriously.
them you can quote, you can talk about, you can make a joke about. There's a T-shirt. You know, they're just so memorable.
All right, Billy Crystal's character.
Billy Crystal, exactly.
Miracle Max.
Miracle
That's
Max.
perfect.
Yeah, I mean, he has some perfect moments, especially with his wife.
Exactly.
And
Even
his
his
hair.
wife, another memorable character.
Humperdinck.
I'm not listening.
Well, like I was saying, that's so great.
Liar.
That's so great. All these characters are so memorable. I mean, from the six-fingered man to Inigo Montoya, you can remember them all.
Yeah, and you've got Cary Elwes' character Wesley.
Can't
also
forget that.
the
Hot.
Pirate Roberts or the Men in Black.
Who was also in Robin Hood Men in Tights,
Yes.
and he was the lead character in Saw.
Not to mention bonus and 3 different episodes of Psych.
Oh,
Georgia
okay.
Rule.
Georgia Rule.
Played the creep in Georgia Rule.
Oh, nice.
I was
Awesome.
waiting for that one.
What was that, Ash? Despero
Yeah,
from
Psych. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that character.
In 1972, Academy Award winner William Goldman wrote The Princess Bride. It took 15 years before director Rob Reiner brought it to the screen. Now critics and audiences agree it was worth the wait. Joel Siegel says The Princess Bride is thrilling, exciting, very funny, and absolute magic. Don't miss it. People magazine calls it an instant classic, the good time movie of the year. Just the right mix of hilarity and heartbreak. The entire cast is superb, but the funniest is Billy Crystal.
I'm not listening.
Bill Harris says The Princess Bride is one of the best movies of the year, an absolute gem. One of the funniest and most charming comedies I've seen in a long time, says Roger Ebert. And Siskel and Ebert give it 2 big thumbs up.
Bye-bye, boys. Have fun storming the castle.
The Princess Bride, rated PG. Now playing at theaters everywhere.
Yeah, and Cary Elwes, of course, plays the badass Wesley, who learns all of these skills and is able to master fencing beyond the skill of someone who's been studying for 20 years, and also a giant, and also, well, Vicini's not nearly as smart as he claims to be, but
Right. No, he's a pseudo-intellectual all the way through.
yeah, he's a lot like some people you sometimes get into arguments with. Exactly, you know what I mean?
Most conservatives.
Right. That was the importance of that scene, was to show his skills. You know, he has skill, he has strength, and he has intelligence.
Yeah.
That was the point of that. It was a trial.
Right. You've got that, Triforce, right? For
There
lack
you
of a
go.
better
That's
term, you
it.
know what I mean? Courage, wisdom, and strength.
That's a good way of putting it. You're right.
Yeah. But and he embodies all of these qualities before you even realize who it is, because the reveal that the man in black is Wesley is of course saved for the as you wish moment when he's rolling down the hill.
Right.
Is it obvious, did you guys think, or
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
very obvious.
It's meant to
who
be,
that
right?
I was
is.
like 4 years old and called it. Like, that dude is totally Wesley.
Right.
it's
Straight
implicit
up.
within the narrative?
I think it was
believe.
important to see his face, and you start to realize it as you go on. You know.
Yeah, and his mannerisms, even though he grew that stupid looking mustache.
God.
I think it was pretty obvious from the get-go to me who it was. I mean, of course Wesley was going to come back for her.
Right, and he's just killed off unceremoniously in the beginning, and in this kind of movie that
No, that doesn't happen. I
but
mean,
it
he's almost dead at one point.
Yeah. This movie, it appeals to your intellect in a way, And I think that's what makes this a timeless classic, is it doesn't patronize you.
No. It actually doesn't talk down to you. It talks to you. You know?
Right.
Like even with the scene where Vicini and Dread Pirate Roberts, they have the wine challenge, the battle of wits.
Yeah.
That right there is a perfect example of that.
He's only mostly dead, not
He's
all
only
dead.
mostly dead,
Yes.
of course.
And then you've got, of course, Mandy Patinkin, Inigo Montoya,
hell yeah.
who we named our cat after. Right,
We sure
Dakota?
did.
Of course you did.
Which, of course, he plays Gideon in Criminal Minds.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Criminal Minds is a pretty good movie or show, I should say.
What? No, I'm just
I've
playing
never
with you.
even seen it.
Maybe
so.
they should make a Criminal Minds.
Well, you
movie.
mentioned SVU earlier. It's like SVU.
Oh,
Yes, but the character development in Criminal Minds is beyond anything.
okay, but does it have Olivia Benson in it?
Olivia Benson. Oh,
Detective Olivia Benson, SVU.
I'm assuming not.
Okay.
Damn.
But
Okay.
it's got Spencer Reed.
Oh, yeah. Or, oh, God, there's so many characters. Steve from Hawaii Five-0.
Don't know.
Love Hawaii Five-0.
Man, I don't watch enough TV to know who these actors
Me
are.
neither, man.
Steve McGarrett, that's it.
Dakota is the TV guy.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Well, okay then.
Dakota knows any face like on any TV show ever.
That's awesome.
Like he'll be like, "Oh, that's so and so from such and such."
I watch How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother. Oh yeah, with Neil Patrick Harris
Yes.
and
No, Patrick Harris, yeah.
Oh, and a series of unfortunate events. NPH's role as Count Olaf was awesome.
he played Count Olaf
Jim
in that.
Carrey.
Really?
I mean, Jim Carrey. No, I'm not taking anything away from Jim Carrey's performance, but and that's the same thing I'm making about The Grinch. Okay, I don't know if I should watch the new one. I know it's Benedict Cumberbatch, and I love Benedict Cumberbatch, but you can't
guy
top
freaks
Jim
me out.
Carrey's performance, right? No.
That is a pretty good example. I mean, Jim Carrey, he brings so much to every role that he does, and especially in a series of unfortunate events and The Grinch. I mean, he pretty much becomes those characters.
Dude, The
so
Mask?
he was in The Mask. Yeah,
You
he was
can't be-
perfect for all those
Right,
characters.
imagine trying to remake The Mask. I mean, you don't do that.
No, you can't remake The Mask because Jim Carrey is The Mask. Okay, what's up, Megan? You're just like, what are you guys talking about?
I feel like I don't like a lot of popular movies, and they're all
Wow.
going to come out in this episode.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
What do you not like?
I don't like The Mask.
You don't like The Mask?
I know.
Wow.
I know.
All right, controversial question here. This is coming next season, but did you like Suicide Squad?
I fell asleep halfway through.
I stopped the movie like 20 minutes in because it was shit.
I wasn't even trying.
But
to
we are
fall asleep or
leaving.
anything, I
We are
just
leaving
did.
that shit for season 3, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah,
Right,
that's
true.
episode 1 of Collateral Cinema. Will be Collateral Cinema Civil War. Civil War.
I don't do comic book stuff. I'm sorry, y'all.
I got you. For the longest time, I didn't, but I recently got into it, and it's like, oh, okay. I see what they've been doing these past 10 years.
There's a lot of compelling narratives, and this movie, of course, also, very compelling narrative.
Oh, right, we're still talking
we're
about The
talking
Princess
about-
Bride.
Yeah.
We are. We just went on another tangent.
Hey, that's Collateral Cinema for y'all.
Oh, of course. I mean, I think our listeners kind of expect that from us by now.
Yeah,
So,
that's okay. But we can't continue this podcast without talking about the badassery of Inigo Montoya.
oh man, he's so great and so honorable. Like so much respect to him
He's
and
just a
his
good
character.
guy.
He is. I mean, he doesn't
He just wants to avenge his father. That's all he wants.
exactly.
He has what is known to many fans as the most iconic line in the movie, whenever he, and specifically at the moment when he encounters Count Rugen, the man that slayed his father, and says, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die."
That moment is just so chilling.
It is.
But I like the first time he says it though, when he's chilling out
cliff.
with Dread Pirate Roberts or the Man in Black, I think he's called at that point or something
Wesley.
like that.
Yeah.
Wesley. Yeah, I mean, he says, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die." This is almost like ruefully, he's like just looking forward to that moment.
And he says
there's
it again
there's
and
a
again.
twinkle in his eye.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's gumption there,
Yeah, and as he says it again and again and again and again to Count Rugen, and then finally, offer me anything I want, anything. I want my father back, you son
Son
of
of
a
a
bitch.
bitch. Exactly. That's such an epic moment. And I mean, the sword fighting in this movie is so intense. Like that first duel between Inigo and Wesley, that's like poetry. And they're constantly bringing up actual fencing terms.
That's what I was wondering, is how true to life the fencing scene
All
was.
of that is true to life. Those are named after actual people who wrote books on the art of fencing.
Like Agrippa.
Like Agrippa, yeah, Capafero. All those are people who were big in fencing at that time.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, so it's very, very like accurate in that way.
That's awesome. And so that's another sense to the Men in Blacks, because Inigo Montoya has been studying swordplay for 20 years since the murder of his father in order to avenge him by killing the six-fingered man that slayed him. And even with all that practice, however much time exists between the introduction and the present block of the movie, Wesley has learned far more.
Yeah.
And it creates kind of an interesting dynamic, and just that scene, a relationship between the two characters. You know, it's that anime rivalry, right, Bo?
It's pretty much just like that. It's like Inuyasha and Koga.
Naruto and Sasuke.
Naruto and Sasuke. Probably even Akira, or should I say Kaneda and Tetsuo.
Oh,
Akira.
yeah. Fuck yeah, Akira.
Yeah.
Light and L.
It's another
Light and
episode
L,
next season.
Yeah, that's going to be an episode, I believe.
Hey,
We're going to do a couple of anime.
Ash, you mentioned earlier the most memorable quotes of the movie. Megan, you said you had something to say on that.
Yeah, what's that?
Nobody mentioned "As You Wish,"
As you wish.
and I feel like
yeah.
to me, like
That's it.
that
That
pretty
is.
much ends the movie right there.
I don't
And
think
it begins.
Begins the movie. It bookends.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting to see how the Inigo Montoya quote got just as popular, if not more.
Oh, totally.
Because
I
the
mean-
movie was, if there's any line that you're supposed to get out of the movie, it was "As You Wish." And I think that would have been the one that should have blown up.
But Inigo
Yeah,
Montoya
yeah.
is
But
way
it-
more badass.
It is.
Yeah.
It
He
is.
just, he
Hands
just
down.
is in every way.
Yeah, so I mean, those are both extremely iconic lines. Enough, I've seen it on, merchandise and Hot Topic.
Yeah.
Anyone want a peanut? Also iconic.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Fezzik's character, played by André the Giant.
Andre the Giant, who
Gotta love him.
at that time he had just had surgery on his back, so he couldn't put a lot of weight on his spine or anything.
That really showed.
Yeah, I mean those moments where he's fighting Wesley, and he's choking him out, like he was pretty much on like a sling or
You
something.
never would have known.
No,
That's
you never would have
crazy.
known. I mean, he's not actually holding him up.
Rest in peace, Andre.
Rest in peace, Andre. He lived a very short but very successful life, and a lot of his problems were degenerative and they were hereditary. He had a specific condition. I don't remember what it's called, but
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, he always had health problems. It was always very painful for him, and especially being a wrestler.
right. And speaking
Yeah.
of, memorable quotes again, Fazzini's character, Inconceivable. I mean, how could you forget that?
That one's also...
Conceivable.
Yeah.
Just saying it out of context so many times.
We had a greeting card that said, it was like a gift card, and you had it's like happy birthday and it was Inconceivable on it. And you open it up and it made the noise.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, but earlier when we were talking about this, I went ahead and Googled it just to be sure. Conceivable was basically like able to imagine, to think of.
Right.
So basically,
So
inconceivable.
it wasn't that out of context.
So it's basically like he's saying it as unimaginable.
Yeah, like out of this world.
So why
no
not just
way.
say unimaginable?
Okay, but he didn't. I'm just saying.
He's
it's
not
really-
clever enough to say unimaginable.
It's really
That's the
not
thing.
that inaccurate.
He's not as intelligent or nearly as clever as he
I'm an
thinks he is.
apologist.
But yeah, I mean, I think Inconceivable, I mean, that is used right. But then again, that perspective may be only because, growing up, when I thought of Inconceivable, I think I tied it back to this movie. Because I think this would have been my first use as a child,
Yeah.
hearing that word.
For
and
sure.
so etymologically for me, that word has its roots here, which just shows how influential this movie is.
Exactly.
It's like not directly synonymous of impossible, but it's kind of close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all it means. And I think he uses that correctly. But he uses it so frequently, which
It's hyperbolic.
Yeah, very much so.
and so that's eventually when Inigo Montoya tells him that iconic line, "You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means."
Yet another meme right there.
That's a meme.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when that meme first became popular. I mean, that was when I was starting to become a little more aware of social media at that point, and also some of the stuff that was coming off of 4chan.
Ew.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
no, I ran away from that very quickly after a while.
Yeah, stay off 4chan.
No, it became very toxic very, very quickly. In many ways, it always was like that. But I mean, as soon as that bullshit started coming out of that, I was just like, no, these guys are idiots.
At this point, it's known. Just stay away from 4chan.
Yeah, just stay away from 4chan.
I was the victim of a 4chan prank once.
Oh no,
Not fun.
fuck,
Not
God.
cool.
that's not cool
Yeah,
at all.
some dudes posted my phone number.
Fucking bastards.
They doxed you?
I don't know.
That's
I mean,
kinda
this was when I
sorta
was like
doxing.
a sophomore in high school. I don't know if doxing was even a thing. I don't know.
Oh, it's always been a thing.
But
more
they
or less.
posted like my selfies, of like my face from MySpace, mind you, not Facebook. And they posted my phone number,
MySpace.
and they were like, if I get 100 calls in 30 minutes, I'll post my tits or something ridiculous like that.
That's why on that's why
no
on that
idea what was
that's
going
why on that
on.
website, whenever you see that, it's always bullshit.
Well,
So
It's always
bad.
bullshit.
you know what's really crazy is how cybersecurity is nowadays.
Yeah.
Like you can use your command prompt and just to DOS attack somebody.
Oh,
Like you can
yeah.
literally like DOS attack someone's IP address just from your command prompt.
Oh
That is
yeah, of course.
crazy.
Yeah.
All you're doing is you're just overloading the reload button, pretty much. It's
Right, and
pretty
it's
much the same
sending
thing.
multiple
Sending
pings back
multiple
and forth
pings,
to the same IP,
multiple packets.
and
Yeah.
it lags out that IP. Like it just DOS attack done.
I
I've seen it
wonder
happen.
how many times people have tried to do that to me.
It's an easy way to just shut someone off the internet.
It
for a minute.
is.
It doesn't last long.
It,
but-
it's like back in the day on AOL chat rooms, you had the punters.
oh yeah,
Where you would be punted off.
I've heard of that.
I don't know about any of that, but you brought me back with MySpace.
Oh,
shit.
There we
shit.
go.
Yeah. That's where social media started out.
Was there
for my
a lot
generation.
of a lot of memes like the stuff from The Princess Bride on MySpace? Because I wasn't really on MySpace back then.
Not when I was
not
on there.
really.
It wasn't a real meme heavy.
Mostly people just like the fact that they could edit their own pages and edit
Oh,
the
okay.
HTML and
Yeah.
put music on their profile.
CSS.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
All right. Where is the poison? The battle of wits has begun. It ends when you decide and we both drink and find out who is right and who is dead.
But it's so simple. All I have to do is divine from what I know of you. Are you the sort of man who would put the poison into his own goblet or his enemy's? Now, a clever man would put the poison into his own goblet because he would know that only a great fool would reach for what he was given. I'm not a great fool, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of you. But you must have known I was not a great fool. You would have counted on it, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of me.
You've made your decision then?
Not remotely. Because iocane comes from Australia, as everyone knows. And Australia is entirely peopled with criminals. And criminals are used to having people not trust them, as you are not trusted by me, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of you.
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
Wait till I get going! Where was I?
Australia.
Yes, Australia. And you must have suspected I would have known the powder's origin, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of me.
You're just stalling now.
You'd like to think that, wouldn't you? You've beaten my giant, which means you're exceptionally strong. So you could have put the poison in your own goblet, trusting on your strength to save you, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of you. But you've also bested my Spaniard, which means you must have studied. And in studying, you must have learned that man is mortal, so you would have put the poison as far from yourself as possible, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of me.
You're trying to trick me into giving away something. It won't work.
It has worked. You've given everything away. I know where the poison is.
Then make your choice.
I will, and I choose. What in the world can that be?
What? Where? I don't see anything.
Oh, well, I could have sworn I saw something. No matter.
What's so funny?
I'll tell you in a minute. First, let's drink. Me from my glass, and you from yours.
You guessed wrong.
You only think I guessed wrong. That's what's so funny. I switched glasses when your back was turned. Ha ha, you fool. You fell victim to one of the classic blunders. The most famous is never get involved in a land war in Asia, but only slightly less well known is this. Never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
That's
That
cool.
was kind of. I mean, MySpace was way cooler than Facebook. Come on, guys, we downgraded.
It was not way cooler, but it was still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I still have my HTML for Dummies book. For real, I do.
That's fucking awesome.
But anyway, we have those characters played by Cary Elwes, and then we also have the trio.
Yeah, the
of
trio.
Inigo, Fezzik, and Vicini. And Vicini is played by Wallace Shawn. And I guess the most immediately recognizable thing to me is from Toy Story, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Definitely.
Rex.
He was Rex.
And
I mean-
also, what was the other Disney movie? The Haunted Mansion. He was in that, right?
Oh yeah, he's a well-known character actor. He's been in a lot of different movies.
His voice is very recognizable.
Oh, very much so. Very recognizable. Stuff like that. Inconceivable.
He played Stewie's unborn brother in Family
Yeah,
Guy.
that's right. He does. Exactly.
Little redheaded shit.
And he's fucking perfect in that role.
It is
hilarious.
absolutely, completely, and in all other ways, inconceivable.
But you know what was crazy? He did this movie that was done by the director of Donnie Darko. It's called Southland Tales, and it is batshit insane, guys.
Nice.
It has who was it? Who is the guy that played Raiden in Mortal Kombat?
I don't know.
I can't believe I forget his name. But anyways, I mean, it had a lot of recognizable people from like Saturday Night Live and a lot of really, really different actors. It had Dwayne Johnson in it. Fucking Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. He was in that fucking movie.
I don't even know, dude.
I have that movie. I need to show it to you guys. It is a mind fuck. You're just like, what the fuck? Justin Timberlake was in that movie.
Wow.
Does anybody dislike The Rock?
I don't dislike him.
I don't think anybody does.
I mean, how can you dislike The
He's
Rock?
awesome.
I mean, there's nothing to
Yeah.
dislike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got that wholesome vibe.
He
I don't know,
does.
like Terry Crews or.
I would
No,
Maybe not
He
Terry
got some
Crews.
allegations though recently.
Yeah.
right?
I don't know about that, but
He said something against the gay community, kind of, right?
Oh.
Was that what it
Lord.
was? Because he
yeah,
was-
something like that.
Yeah, kinda.
that's a whole nother situation we shouldn't even get into.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
let's-
people
let's-
out there that don't like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, show yourselves to me because I don't believe you exist. You're like a unicorn.
Seriously.
That's all I have to say about that.
I once got made fun of for saying it like that. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I have been made fun of for saying it like that.
Because you can't
Dwayne
say
The
that.
Rock-
It's
You
either
Should have
can.
made fun of them.
Do you know how many
back.
people say
Yeah,
that?
exactly.
I know. Thank you for
Exactly.
understanding.
it's-
That's what you should have
bully
done.
them.
it's The Rock,
Okay.
or it's Dwayne Johnson. It's
His
not
name is
Dwayne
Ash,
The Rock
and you
Johnson.
can. His name is Ash, and you
Bully
can bully
him.
him.
This motherfucker. Fucking great.
Anyway, we also have, of course, Robin Wright. Has she done anything recently?
I didn't really check her IMDb or anything, but I mean, this was her first role.
And
right
she's
here.
the titular character, the Princess Bride,
Exactly.
or Buttercup.
Who actually doesn't bring a whole lot to the table.
No, at all.
And I believe in the book it said, I didn't read it, but I remember, I think I heard that she's supposed to be not very bright, right?
something like that. I mean, she has some damsel in distress qualities to her, but also kind of. But sometimes she could be a little proactive. Like she did try to jump off the ship and swim to the boat with
Kind
Wesley,
of.
the Man in Black, following the trio. After she was kidnapped. So
Yeah.
I
She's
mean,
had some powerful moments.
she does.
Oh, and you can't forget Robin Wright was in Forrest Gump.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right. Is she
Jenny.
Jenny?
She's Jenny, yeah.
She's
Naked
Jenny?
Jenny.
And you mentioned House of Cards already.
I
Really?
did not. That was not me. Bro.
Really?
Mm.
Oh, well.
Who mentioned
No, that
House of
was-
Cards and what
You know
way?
what? That was
No, that was
someone else.
Ariel.
Another girl who's
Yeah,
hanging out
it-
with us.
it's-
I was.
Well,
Yeah.
she is the main girl of House of Cards. I haven't seen the show, but I know
Wow,
that.
No kidding. Wow. Crazy.
Shout out.
But, and of course, today we do have a resident feminist on board. Normally we
Laura
have-
Carey.
We call Robert our resident car guy,
A resident
Yeah.
everything.
and
Resident
then Dakota and I
everything.
are like the resident video game guys, so that's just kind of our thing here.
Yeah.
But as our resident feminist, okay, does the portrayal
oh
of
yes.
Buttercup, I mean, does this movie pass? Does it have a feminist seal of approval?
Here you go.
Georgie, 'cause
honestly,
I want to
Does
say
it-
there's a little bit of misogyny there. Maybe
Does,
that's
does it pass the Bechdel test in any way?
I
don't
know
think so.
Yeah.
what that is. Is that a feminist thing?
It is. It is. Supposedly,
Wow, I
here's
suck.
what it is: is there more than one female character? Do they talk to each other? And if they talk to each other, do they talk about a man or not? That's the
gotcha.
Bechdel test.
okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Turing test or something.
Yeah, something like that.
That's kind of.
Okay.
I don't know. It's kind of generic, don't you think?
Or
I'm not sure.
reductive, you mean?
I'm not-
Yeah.
Maybe, but I mean, it is interesting to see which movies and which comic book series or which video games pass or not. Because, I
Right.
mean, it's more of like a cultural magnifying glass.
Well,
in a
does
way.
this film pass that?
There are two female characters. There's Buttercup, and then there's Miracle Max's
Can I bust
wife.
y'all's balls real quick?
What?
Yeah.
Okay, Ash just asked me for my feminist point of view.
This mo-
And then Bo interjected and
I am
started
so
explaining some
sorry.
shit.
I am
And then
so
y'all went off on a
sorry.
tangent.
I'm so sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I just had to throw it out there.
Yeah,
Feminist here.
we deserve that. We totally deserve that.
Yeah, no, okay. Real quick, though, I'm a feminist. I also have a sense of humor.
Oh,
so
of course.
I don't think that this movie aged all that well in that category, but at the same time, I love it. So, whatever.
Yeah, and
And it's okay to do that.
Right, and even as a feminist, as you claim, it's easy to look beyond that and to kind of see it for what it is.
I mean, it's all the freaking Monty Python dudes. I wouldn't
Right.
expect
Yeah.
anything serious. It's all satire.
Exactly.
So, of course,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course she's a damsel in distress because that's what she was supposed to be, and that's part of what made it funny.
Right.
In
and that-
fact, when we were watching it earlier, I noticed that more so than ever because the last time that I've watched it was like years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Always interesting to reflect on the stuff you used to watch back
Yeah.
in the day.
I
know?
think, and it's not. I'm not entirely certain when watching this movie if that slight amount of misogyny is somewhat intentional or not. You know, it may be somewhat satirical, or it might just be a product of its time.
Yeah.
I think both.
Yeah, in a way, right?
More or less.
Of course, Robin Wright also is joined by some other stars. We have Christopher Guest playing Count Rogan and Chris Sarandon playing Prince Humperdinck.
Oh yeah. And
Humperdinck.
Humperdinck.
It's very interesting what happens to him in the end. I mean, he totally bitches out.
He
Straight
doesn't
up.
die. And what's funny is Peter Falk, who's the narrator.
He
in
already
the story.
Yeah, he does.
Well, he's narrating the plot, and then the grandson, who's the reader or the listener in the story, framing narrative, questions and says, "Oh no, Prince Humperdinck didn't marry Buttercup. You're getting the story wrong. Read it right." and that's funny because I don't know. I'm high as fuck. I was going somewhere with
This
this.
motherfucker.
That's funny because at that point he asks, well, Wesley gets Humperdinck, right?
Right.
And then, Fred Savage says that. And at that point, the grandfather, Peter Falk, tells him flat out no, which kind of, I guess, spoils the movie in a way, but it's part of it. It's part of that, part of the narrative.
Right, and when I was younger, I used to be upset about that because I was like, man, it spoils the movie.
That wasn't
you know?
the point.
Right, but exactly. You got to think about that's not the point of that scene, you know?
And Humperdinck doesn't
Not
die,
at
but
all.
all the same, he's humiliated and defeated.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
definitely think, completely finished by Wesley's To the Pain in his own way, right?
It's worse than death.
Yeah.
He has to live with that.
I
that
would.
humiliation.
I
'cause
wouldn't
he's a
want
chicken
to.
Shit.
Yeah.
And it was really all a metaphor, all that pain, getting everything cut off. It's what it was. It was metaphorically telling him how he's going to feel after all this.
Mm-hmm.
And then his aide, the six-fingered man, Count Rugen, who serves as the end of Inigo's.
Christopher Guest, right?
Yeah, Christopher Guest serves
Oh,
as the end
nice.
of Inigo's vengeance arc.
Does Christopher Guest have 6 fingers?
In real life, I don't know. I mean, that would be pretty
Have to
cool.
ask
I mean,
that.
maybe that was part of the casting
Please
call.
stop
Must have 6
asking me
fingers.
if I have 6 fingers. Leave me alone.
Doesn't the character seem a little bit sensitive about it in the movie? As soon as Inigo
Right,
says
yeah.
it, he goes, "You have 6 fingers on your." No.
It's
Wesley says it.
Wesley
yeah.
says it,
Wesley
yeah,
says it
yeah.
because of the story Inigo told him, and he says, "You have 6 fingers on your left hand." somebody was looking for you.
And before he even says someone is looking for you, he pulls out his sword, showing that he's angry about the fact that he said the fact
And hits him with
fingers,
the hilt of it.
and
There's
then he
always
hits him with the
one.
hilt. Right. Yeah, always a good knock to the head. Knock
Yeah.
to the noggin.
We already mentioned Billy Crystal, of course, as Miracle Max. And then, we have the dynamic between Peter Falk and Fred Savage, and just this sort of interplay that frames the story. And it's a grandpa, as we said before, reading a story to his grandson, a story by S. Morgenstern that was read to him by his father, and he read it to Fred Savage's father.
Yeah.
And he's reading it to him now that Fred Savage is sick. Fred Savage is in his 80s room playing an 80s baseball video game. He's got a Chicago Bears shirt, and you've just kind of got this
80s vibe.
innocent child feel, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Which in that movie Once Upon a Deadpool, which was the PG-13 version of Deadpool 2, they actually framed that story with actual Fred Savage.
Older Fred Savage.
An older
yeah.
Fred Savage as an adult chained to his bed, and Deadpool's reading the story of Deadpool 2. And in the same way, cutting out the bad parts that are scary.
Jeez.
And so the movie passes for PG-13, which is brilliant.
Ingenious.
Brilliant.
Right. Yeah, of course.
And an awesome callback to the many fans of The Princess Bride.
Oh, certainly.
So, and in you guys' opinion, okay, do you think that this frame narrative adds to the movie or detracts from it?
I don't think so. I don't think it takes anything away from the movie. If anything, it influences the actual flow of the story, right?
I believe so. When I was a kid, I used to dislike actually that part of the story. But as I've grown older, it's part of the charm, and it's very much
Right.
a part of the narrative.
Well, and that's the comforting part of it, like I think the first time I ever saw it, I was staying home from school. I was sick, and my mom showed it to me, and so, I mean,
Right, you relate to the movie. You get the same vibe, and it's kind of important.
Yeah, and that frame narrative, of course, was adapted from the novel, and in the novel, S. Morgenstern, it's the same book, The Princess Bride by S. Morgenstern, that's been passed down, and the abridger, which is William Goldman, who wrote the screenplay, basically takes out the bad versions of the story and creates a storybook tale along with his own commentary throughout.
Good heavens. Are you still trying to win? You've got an overdeveloped sense of vengeance. It's going to get you into trouble someday.
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Hello! My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Stop saying that! Oh. Hello! My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die! No! Offer me money.
Yes.
Power to promise me that.
All that I have and more. Please.
Offer me everything I ask for.
Anything you want.
I want my father back, you son of a bitch.
And so this movie adapted that storyline in the best way possible, keeping the frame narrative, but making it, I guess, better for movie audiences. And that's really where this movie, I guess, triumphs, and at least in one part. And I believe that deserved a whole talking point, was just that frame story.
Yeah, I honestly, the interplay between Fred Savage and Peter Falk is just so natural that, it really helps kind of... Man, where am I going with this? I'm stoned.
It's comforting.
It's comforting,
it's
exactly.
heartwarming.
It's heartwarming.
That's what I was trying to say earlier, pretty much.
Well, right, and trying to elaborate on what you were saying, Ash. S. Morgenstern is completely fictional.
Yeah. S. Morgenstern is a fictional character.
Right, and
he's not the actual.
Exactly. That's it's really interesting. I remember reading that at one time.
S. Morgenstern.
And it's just to think about. Yeah, S. Morgenstern was completely fake. There is no S. Morgenstern. It's a pseudonym, but it's
if that's
the
not clear.
real
Right.
S. Morgenstern, please stand up.
There you go.
So I guess that's another element that makes this movie feel like a fairy tale, in a lot of ways, but a self-aware fairy tale. Now, of course, bypassing our own nostalgia lens and this movie's status as a cult classic, do you guys think it still holds up today by cinematic standards?
Yeah, I think that it held up rather well. I mean, I was very entertained. I haven't watched it in a while. I mean, that's what I think.
I would agree completely, honestly. I have nothing against this movie. I grew up with it, and even without that foreknowledge, it's such a memorable movie.
Other than aesthetics, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can see the green screen being used.
No, not even that. Like, I'm talking more about like their costumes and stuff like that. Like, and maybe I'm ruined by Game of Thrones.
Right.
But when I was watching it earlier with y'all, I was like, wow. That belt looks like it's from the dollar store.
It probably was.
So that's where they lost me. And again, that's what made me realize I had not seen it in a long time.
How did you feel about Game of Thrones? That's a contentious topic, and I feel like that deserves just a little bit of discussion in any cinematic platform.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, me personally, I don't have any real dog in that fight because I haven't seen any more than maybe a few episodes of Game of Thrones, but I don't have anything against it. I just haven't seen a whole lot of it.
I haven't seen it either, but I've kept up with the spoilers.
Yeah, I know mostly like the stuff from the memes, and every now and again I might read an article about it on like Salon or something like that. Like they post about it a lot.
Well, I mean, all I know is what we talked about earlier, is that in episode 1, it already teaches the world that they are desensitized to incest.
Yeah. I watched the first episode, and I've watched the finale recently.
I've seen it. I've seen all of it.
Yeah.
Right on.
I love it. I'm not mad. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, a lot of things were predictable, but at the same time, they really did throw you off. And I think that's really good directing, screenplay, all the above. I was looking at this article, and they use a lot of CGI.
No.
A lot. And obviously, you got a dragon, right? But I mean,
3.
There's scenes where you can see crowds of people, and they only have, it's like hundreds of people, and they only have like the first row of people.
That's
and
actually
the
pretty
rest
cool.
Is all CGI and duplicated and redone, and it's amazing. If you look at the scenes and you cut it down, you can see the duplication. But you have to really cut down. Like I was looking at this post on Snapchat.
That's a pretty common CGI
Right.
thing. It's also used in games a lot.
Of course.
If you really, really look like sports games, especially back in the day.
It's the same 4 people up in the stands. Just
yeah.
Repeating the same animation.
Exactly. Yeah. You got it.
I did a little bit of research, and I had seen some of the practical effects and the CGI that they use for Game of Thrones. It's really clever. It's just another example of this kind of, I guess, rising progression in the entertainment industry right now. For the first time, people are realizing that people are willing to binge watch a series. And so you can produce a TV series with the same quality you put into blockbusters. With that, kind of movement, we also are seeing that, well, in general, we're learning that our mind spans, our attention spans are much bigger than we thought. People are willing to binge watch movies or TV shows.
Weeks.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. People are willing to listen to podcasts, the podcast format.
Exactly. I was going to say that. That's a total analogy to that. That's perfect. People are willing to listen to podcasts because it's so convenient. That's what's so great about it. When you're in a car, you can just listen to it and it's nothing, It's this huge rise in podcasting.
Yeah, and pretty much every phone has like a default podcast app, and you can always download stuff like Stitcher or, Podbean or Spotify or stuff like that, It's more accessible than it's ever been.
Yeah,
honestly.
personally, I still use the iTunes native one, the iTunes podcast.
Yeah, so have I.
I've been using Pandora, I shit you not.
Right.
now there's a bunch of popular podcasts on Pandora.
I was waiting for them to start putting podcasts on Pandora.
You know, Overcast. I have actually, my dad likes that one a lot. He was talking to me about it, and I've been looking at it, and it's a nice podcasting format. But obviously, we can't stop talking about Chill Level Radio, right?
Yeah, Chill Lover Radio. Download the app. We are on the podcast section.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm going to make a promo for it at the beginning of the episode.
Sounds
but
good.
yeah, download the app, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to see, just this format grow, and we're super excited to be a part of it. Of course, going into that, we are now at the end of season 2. Do you have anything to say about?
I'm very satisfied with the way that this season came out. I mean, I think we talked about a lot of really, really interesting movies from different genres that, are really matter to people, I think,
Yeah, I was super excited to finally be able to put in my own input this season and able to decide a few episodes.
Yeah.
We got Dakota on board this season finally.
Yeah, it's nice. I'm here for the whole season. Started with episode 1. It ended with this last episode.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
I'll continue.
Yeah, we'll look forward to having you in season 3.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. This season was fantastic. We spent it all in this studio.
Yeah.
Section 9.
Yeah, Section 9 Studios. Not your bedroom anymore, huh?
Not my bedroom, and for a while we were in Robert's living room, or dining room, I should say.
Not my bedroom anymore.
There you go.
It's not my bedroom. Hell no.
So I looked out. I didn't have to spend any long days enduring your bedroom, but...
Oh, yeah. I mean, Ash, you remember recording in the bedroom, right?
I do. I was on since we did the indie movie, Hectic Knife.
Yeah.
I remember recording out of your room, which looks exactly like how you probably left it in when you were a teenager.
Oh, no, it was worse.
It was worse?
Way worse, dude.
But
my room's a mess. I neglect it so much.
And then Robert's house. By the way, guys, if you haven't noticed, Robert's sweet baritone is missing this episode.
Yeah, he's not here. We look forward to having him on the next couple of episodes because we are recording this. We are pre-recording this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the deal with this is that, I'm having a baby soon. And so I wanted to make sure that we pre-recorded our season finale. So for us, we just finished... What was it?
Slumber Party
Massacre.
Yep.
Yeah.
Slumber Party Massacre was our most recent episode, and we should by now we should have done Leprechaun Returns.
Yeah. By the time we release this, we'll release this in order, right?
We're going to release it in order. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's after that? Between Leprechaun Returns and anything else?
Oh, it's going to be Martyrs.
Martyrs.
I can't wait to show that one to you guys.
I'm excited.
Yeah, that's a brutal fucking movie. It's brutal. But it's very important to
Your
watch.
smile says it all.
I'm like, yeah.
We've had an amazing season, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. And to have been a part of season 1 as well, although Bo and Robert trucked on, themselves for a while.
Yeah, it was a duo for a little bit.
And
just
then
a two-man show.
Bringing the other Chancellor brother on board.
And then later separating into our gaming.
Yeah, and then we spun out this year. We spun out our Collateral Gaming podcast. Of course, I like to talk about it a little bit every episode.
Of course,
do a little bit of promo for Collateral Gaming, which is kind of mainly my project, but Dakota's as well. And we're gonna record our episode on The Last of Us, and then our finale on Spider-Man PS4. That I'm super stoked to release and to get out to you guys, hopefully before the baby gets here. If not, the finale might be out a little bit later. We're just going to wing it. We'll see how it goes, and we should be starting up with Collateral Cinema again on Season 3.
That should be in October.
What can we expect from Season 3, Bo?
We can expect an interesting array of movies. We're going to have our first couple of anime that we're going to get into.
Akira, yeah.
Akira and Perfect Blue.
Yeah.
Of course, don't want to spoil too many of the movies, but like you said, we've got a lot coming.
Oh, yeah, we got a lot. And, of course, Collateral Cinema Civil War.
Yes, that's going to be our opening, our premiere episode.
With
Michael Cornwell of the Country Club podcast. That is going to be amazing, right?
Oh, my man Cornwell.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be a lot of fun. He hates that movie.
He hates everything.
I hate that movie as well.
Man, we almost had him on an episode, and then...
Yeah, it didn't work out. I would like to try to get him back on soon.
Yeah,
Maybe
that would be
for
great.
A bonus episode or something.
Yeah, so if we don't release another bonus episode, our next one, of course, is going to be Suicide Squad, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Do you have any bonus episodes planned, or...?
I think that we were talking about doing a cross episode with the Country Club and having it be a film commentary. I don't remember what movie they were talking about, but it's going to be something kind of silly because they like to rag on a bunch of shit. So I don't know.
They're a bunch of funny dudes.
They are a bunch of
goobers.
Yep, funny dudes. And I'm on that podcast every now and again.
To fool around those guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we love our fellow, network podcasts, I guess, Country Club podcast. And, of course, Chaz's Trial by Error.
Trial by Error Variety Show podcast. Yeah, check him out.
Based in the area.
Yep.
Are there any other, podcasts based in the area?
Not really. I know a couple of people who wanted to start one, but they need to holler at me whenever. But
yeah, our studio will be out for rent. Yeah, and today's episode of Collateral Cinema, of course, was missing our sweet, sweet Robert, but we do have Megan here today as well.
Which is interesting because I heard you just say, ahem. Did you say you want to start a podcast yourself?
What? No, that is so not what I meant. No, really, y'all, no, for real. No.
It's like, I'm not ready to front a podcast. I'm not ready.
No, between my job and trying to buy a house and a bunch of other crap. Yeah, I know I'm miserable, actually.
You're here right now. You're here right now. You got to make the best of it.
Thank you guys for having me, for real. It's been a blast.
It was a lot of fun having you, of course.
Be happy to come back.
Oh, certainly. We'll show you the episode list for next season. You can pretty much pick and choose what you want.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.
Well, guys, you can find Collateral Cinema on iTunes, on Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, and wherever else you get your podcasts. We have, of course, the Podcoin app.
Podcoin.
That's what you're going to say. I know.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I saw the wheels turning, Bo. Yeah, we got on the Podcoin app where you can get paid to listen to podcasts. How cool is that?
That's always cool. I think we're going to have a promo at the mid-roll on this episode. So
yeah, for sure. Also, Chill Lover Radio app, who are our network that is hosting our platform, among others. Go check out all the other podcasts and radio shows on Chill Lover Radio app, of course. Collateral Gaming is also on Chill Lover. And also, wherever you get your podcasts, both of us.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And also, I think we mentioned iTunes. I want to say that we'll be on iHeartRadio soon through Chill Lover Radio, but I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that right now. But
they got us on SoundCloud.
They have us on SoundCloud as well. Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Overcast. We're also on that.
Yeah, we're on Overcast. Platform. Yeah, that's right. And also we're on Lofty TV Radio.
Nice.
That's another one.
Yeah, and we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all
Twitter.
Social media, Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen. We need more followers.
To the death.
No! To the pain.
I don't think I'm quite familiar with that phrase.
I'll explain, and I'll use small words that you'll be sure to understand, you warthog-faced buffoon.
That may be the first time in my life a man has dared insult me.
It won't be the last. To the pain means the first thing you lose will be your feet below the ankles. Then your hands at the wrists. Next, your nose.
And then my tongue, I suppose. I killed you too quickly the last time. A mistake I don't mean to duplicate tonight.
I wasn't finished. The next thing you lose will be your left eye, followed by your right.
And then my ears, I understand. Let's get on with it.
Wrong! Your ears you keep, and I'll tell you why. So that every shriek of every child at seeing your hideousness will be yours to cherish. Every babe that weeps at your approach, every woman who cries out, "Dear God, what is that thing?" will echo in your perfect ears. That is what the pain means. It means I leave you in anguish, wallowing in freakish misery forever.
I think you're bluffing.
It's possible, pig. I might be bluffing. It's conceivable, you miserable, vomitous mass. I'm only lying here because I lack the strength to stand. But then again, perhaps I have the strength after all.
Yeah, follow our personal accounts too. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. I need to start a personal account actually. So I have the Collateral Cinema account. I need to start a personal one on Twitter.
Yeah, you want to get checkmarked eventually, don't you, Bo?
Oh, definitely. I want that. I want that
even mean?
verification.
There you go.
I need that. You know, I already have my Facebook public figure page set up.
Oh, nice.
It kind of came with making Instagram a business page, so
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
a business now.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Ash is legit, y'all.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, we're all just, a bunch of jackasses sitting in a circle. But
Good one.
Oh, of course. That's Collateral Cinema in a nutshell.
Wait. We didn't have a room reference.
Oh God.
Oh no. Love is blind.
Okay.
Why to go to why?
We did it.
Why, Lisa? Why?
All right, we checked that off. We checked off Master of Disguise.
Which sits out-
is that really necessary?
It sits out there. I threw it out the fucking door.
I chunked it.
It's been chunked to the ether.
Is it still out there, Bo?
It's still out there.
Oh my God.
I have not moved it. I will let the sun bake it to a fucking crisp.
That was like a week ago.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't care if it's unusable. That's $4 goddamn American dollars I'm never getting back.
Four
So-
goddamn American dollars.
I spent $10 on Food Fight, which I haven't even shown these two yet.
This is America.
I listened to part of the episode on Food Fight, and I thought that was a lot of fun.
Oh, you should see it. It's on YouTube for free.
And we got the commentary as well. I started Food Fight. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
We've got the commentary for Food Fight. Guys, if you want to support us and you like what we do have a Patreon page where you can donate, and also the Podbean patron, which I think is where we have the commentaries.
That's where we have
now.
the commentaries. We really need to start working on the Patreon, honestly.
Yeah.
That's got to be up and running at least by season 3.
Yeah, Collateral Gaming 2, we also have a Patreon, but not a lot set up. Just our first Let's Play commentary, Fable 3, and that one's free, just like the Food Fight one is.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyways, guys, I guess we've been droning on enough and, taking your precious time away. But any final thoughts, everybody?
I think that this movie will always stand the test of time in some way because the dialogue, like I said, it never skips a beat. The pacing is tight. I mean, it bookends so well with a very, very meaningful moment on both ends. And the characters, I mean, what else can you say about them? I mean, that we haven't said already.
Yeah, the characters are phenomenal, and they make this movie.
And the memes. Come on, the fucking memes.
Right. And this movie will go down in history. This film has brought true love to our hearts.
Marriage. True love.
True love.
Mowit.
Yeah, no, for real. It's an amazing movie. It always will be.
Incredible. What are your final thoughts, Meg?
Every day from this point forward and from this point before, when I am at home sick, eating ramen or whatever it is, this movie is on.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, no, that's what it means.
It is kind of like cinematic comfort food, right?
Yeah, chicken noodle soup, but it's a movie.
There you go. You
Yeah.
said it, Megan.
Yeah.
And it's so ingrained in the culture,
Yeah.
My family, for instance, we all love this movie. I think this is my mom's favorite movie, my dad's, my brother Dakota.
Of course.
It's good for the soul.
Yeah, it is.
And, for us, this is just a huge favorite. I think Uncle Brian loves it as well.
Oh, yeah.
Aunt Lily.
Aunt Lily,
Oh,
of course.
of course, wifey gotta like it as well, right?
Lillian actually really isn't into the fantasy genre.
Really,
No.
This doesn't count as
this isn't-
fantasy genre.
it's a satire of the fantasy genre. It's a satire of fairy tales at the very least.
Yeah, I tried to explain that to her, but she's also pregnant and very sleepy. So
Fair
the last
enough.
when we tried to
Yeah.
watch the movie last night, I let her do her thing. So,
yeah, fair enough.
but this movie is part of my identity in a way,
Mhm.
and just the many quotable lines. This movie, just as quotable, if not more, than The Room.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's very special, very near and dear to my heart anyway. Anyways, guys, that being said, my name is Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Bo Maddox,
I'm Dakota Chancellor.
And I am Megan Price.
and this is Collateral Cinema Season 2. Woo!
Deuces.
Oh,
Deuce, yeah. See you next season, ladies and gentlemen.
Go follow Collateral Gaming. Collateral Gaming is better.
Collateral Cinema is an L Company production. All music and movie clips are owned by the respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.